6 p.m. on December the 13th, 2020. And I'm looking at Pangea. Pangea was a supercontinent that existed during the late Paleozoic and early Mesozoic eras. It assembled from earlier continental units approximately 335 million years ago, and it began to break up 175 million years ago. So, but we only have a recorded Earth history of what, 6,000 years? Hello. Hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello, from my heart to yours. Hello. Um, Hello, you all. I don't know how I got on this Pangea, but I have found something interesting. Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Hello. This is interesting, and it's about the supercontinent. It really is. It's about that. It's about J.R. Tolkien's Middle Earth. Yeah. Hello. Thank you. Hello. Hello. I didn't see the sky last night. Our sky has been overcast. When I say overcast, it's covered in white. It's covered in white right now. We're supposed to get rain showers today. So tonight, we're not going to see nothing. We ain't going to see nothing tomorrow either, because of, yeah, we don't get to see shooting stars where I'm at here in Salem, Indiana, because they keep that sky covered completely. So I can't take no pictures. So I don't get to see them at all. I don't. Good evening. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good day. Hello, love and light to all of you. Yes, they are covering the sky. So Pangea. So you all have heard about the continent of Pangea and how it broke up. I learned about it in elementary school. It was part of our curriculum that we had to learn about in history was Pangea. Right here. And you can see it was a supercontinent that existed during the late Paleozoic and early Mesozoic eras, and it assembled from an earlier continental unit approximately 335 million years ago, and it began to break up 175 million years ago. Well, that's what they tell us. And Earth's history is only, what, 6,000 years? That's what the biblical history goes back to 6,000 years. But you know what was really interesting? Yeah, what was really interesting, if you were to, I'm sure there are some J.R. Tolkien people who have read every single book and watched every single movie. With the hobbits and all of that, I think there was truth in that. I really think there was truth in the J.R. Tolkien history and of Middle Earth. Now just look at this, you all. You can see this. The two lamps of Arda. Okay, so that's the springs of Arda, years of the trees. But what got me is, look at this, Middle Earth right here. I'm going somewhere with this, okay? If you're just tuning in, I'm going somewhere with this because I'm seeing some similarities in between with this J.R. Tolkien book, even though they say it is purely sci-fi. No, I don't think it is truly sci-fi. I think there is truth into what was said. So you have this Middle Earth, and you know what happened. There were like big giant trees and stuff. You know, they say that there is fossilized giant trees in America. Great big fossilized trees because the trees were giant. But see, we don't know that history of that because they're not telling us. You know, we have the giant sequoias in California. So yeah, and dinosaurs. So look in here. So this is me. So it says there were two trees in this place called Aman. And you see right here, the earth is flat here, okay? This was a nice place. The two trees of Valinor, they had two trees. Okay, so I thought, okay, why did they have two trees in this Aman place? Why did they have two trees? But they specifically had two trees in there. And then I'm thinking, okay, What about these two trees? Because it reminds me of the two trees that were put in the Garden of Eden, the tree of knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life. See, there's similarities right there. The tree of knowledge in a biblical, the tree of knowledge in the Garden of Eden and the tree of life in the Garden of Eden. Okay, so they have those two trees there, and yet they have these two trees here in Amen. And if you go down here, Amen, it was a continent in Middle Earth. So you can see the breakdown, and they say it's kind of make-believe. They say it's kind of make-believe, but I don't know about this. So they had some ages. They had the first age, and here's the continents right here. Here's Aman and stuff like that. Then you go on, and then you have a second age. Hello, everyone. But this gets interesting, okay? Look at this. So there was a war. Something happened like that, okay? There was a war. Look at this. The moon and the sun orbited. Let me use this right here. The moon and the sun orbited the world. You have the moon here, the sun here. It was a flat world during the second age. And then the changing of the world and the downfall of Nuramar. So the world turns round in the third age. But it was something interesting. It said the world changed into a sphere and the continent of Aman was removed. Although a sailing route from Middle Earth to Aman, the continent of Aman was removed. And it was no longer included. Look at here where it came off, right here. It was taken off, and see, you had this Pangea-like continent, which is like this, but this Aman got taken off. Is this Aman where it had like the two trees? See, it had the two trees that grew in it. Right here, two trees that grew in there, and we have like the Garden of Eden. It had two trees, and they can't find the Garden of Eden, okay? What is the chances of having this J.R. Tolkien's Middle Earth and this place called Amon or Aman with the two trees, and then something happens, a battle occurs, and that is removed. It is no longer part of this. And you know, there were people who said, oh, it's all make-believe, he's making it up and stuff like that. That's what they said. But I don't believe that. I really don't. I really don't believe that. I don't. Because it says, look at this. It says, Valinor, the land of Valar, they said it's a fictional location. Is it fictional? I don't know about it. In the realm of Valar, on the continent of Aemon, far to the west of Middle Earth. Okay, so you have that continent, this place that literally broke off, and the two trees, they're gone. They're gone. They're removed, just like this Garden of Eden and the two trees in the Garden of Eden, and then it just disappears and nobody can find the Garden of Eden. Okay. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. This is really it really is interesting. Okay. And get this. So you have this people called the Valar. They're characters in J.R. Tolkien's Legendarium. They are angelic powers or gods, subordinate to the one god, which is Eru Elevatar. Look at that. They chose to enter the world, Arda, to complete the material developed afterward or whatever. So you have these things like that, but then you have, and here is the history. And this is the third age of the dwarves, elves, hobbits, dwindle, bloom, and then the continents break up and they rearrange just like that. And they say that it's make-believe, but I don't know about that. I really don't know about that. I don't, because it seems kind of strange, okay? It really does. You like this? I like it too, and it's cold outside right now. It really is. I'm wondering if any of you ever drew that conclusion if you are an avid reader, if you like J.R. Tolkien stuff, if you ever came to that conclusion when you see the two trees. I just now knew about these two trees in here, and then the two trees in the Garden of Eden, and then it's gone, and this Aman continent is gone, but yet it exists. That's all I'm saying. It's all I'm saying is the similarities. And then they, look at this. They say an imagined prehistory. Here, that's me. Imagined prehistory. ARDA is summed up by Tolkien scholar Paul H. Kocher as our own green and solid earth at some quite remote epoch of in the past. In a letter in 1958, Tolkien places the beginning of the Fourth Age some 6,000 years in the past. 6,000 years in the past? Well, that 6,000 years in the past just so happens to be when the Zetas decided to rewrite history. 6,000 years, from 6,000 years. That's what I've heard. And so this is really interesting. That is, I can't push that button. I imagine the gap since the end of the Third Age to be around 6,000 years. That is, we are now at the end of the Fifth Age if the ages were of about the same length as the Second Age and Third Age. But they have, I think, quickened. The ages have quickened, and I imagine that we are actually at the end of the Sixth Age or the Seventh Age. See, I don't even know how many ages they had in there. I really don't. I don't. And look, they say the Ents may still be there in the Force, too. They show initial steps in a long process of retreat of the disappearance by which all other intelligent species, which would leave man effectively alone on Earth, Ents may still be in our Force, but what Force have we left? See, they're saying what Force are left. The process of extermination is already well underway by the Third Age, and he deplores the climax of today. So I think there's some truth in these J.R. Tolkien things. I do. But that was really interesting, and that's all I want to say. It was interesting that there were two trees, and there was a place called Aman. An Aman is described as the undying lands sundered from the world. So you can go there in peace. You can go there in peace. But it was flat, and then the changing of the world and the downfall of Nurmar, and then boom, it changes into a round world when Aman is removed. It changes round. And then I think our Earth, back in the 5th century, is when they said it was round. So yeah, put your comments in the your thoughts in the comments below, because I like to read them. Everybody else likes to read them. I really do. Yeah. So, oh my goodness, yeah. The future proves the past. So I think that these books and things, I think that there is some truth to them, just like the movies. There's truth to the movies. There is. We know that there's a great evil force that is trying to take over the earth. There is. And we don't just have to call it darkness. It is an evil force, a good against evil. And you know, that's what's happening. It's just like when you meet someone that your spirit connects with. You can connect with an evil spirit if you got the evil in you, or you can connect with a good spirit if you got the good in you, a loving spirit. But it's really interesting, the things that are, Esau and Jacob. I think it probably goes back to that reptilian stuff and those type of spirits that didn't like it. Oh my goodness. Well, the first realm, the first realm. Is somebody talking about the first realm in here? I don't even know about a first realm. They have kept this all as real. Somebody was on the first realm. Charles Foster, they want to know what you mean by the first realm. To the black sun. That's right. I've heard of the black sun. Someone said, Gina, I'm going to send you something so you can read on the black sun. I haven't got to read it yet, but it does exist. Yeah, the black sun exists, you all. So research that. Yeah. Somebody, Russian Malone, and the snake in the Garden of Eden was then a humanoid. It could be. It could be. The people were driven out of the Garden of Eden. The Indians were to take to the center of the earth. Yes. Was they helped there by the ant people? Hmm. So yeah, that really that got my attention. You know, I like to watch the J.R. Tolkien movies. I've not read their books. I've got all their books. My children wanted their books, but I haven't read them because I don't really like to read books. I loved reading books when I was younger. We lived right across the street from the library, and I could go buy paperback books for 5 cents. And I would save up my money, and I had a collection of paperback books because I love to read, but I love to read poetry a lot of poetry. So let's look at that, you all. Right there, this was attached to the continent, but then it was removed of Middle Earth. And we know that there's something inside the earth. There is like a Middle Earth. Yeah, poetry is really, it's soothing. And Valinar. And then boom, this is what happened. It changed to a round world when this was removed. You could say, was this the Garden of Eden that was removed? You know, all this stuff that they've got going on, all of this stuff sounds really interesting. It really, really does, if you think about it. There's some truth to everything. Love disciple, thank you so much. Yeah, there's so much truth to everything, you all. There really is, and I think all the information's out there if we know what to look for. I really do think it is. And if we have the desire within to look for it, you'll find what you're looking for. But be careful what you search for because you may not like what you find and all that goes with it. There's like a Proverbs or an Ecclesiastes, the more the knowledge, the more the grief. Yeah, much study wearies the body. And all of that's true. The more you know, the more the grief. And if you study a lot, it's going to wear you out. We're supposed to know, love, and knowledge. Yeah. The snake was changed. Yeah. Shambhala is in the earth, not just a heavenly. You know, that's probably true too. Some like to have powers. The earth is flat. Just like the birth says, well, according to this, it was. And then after Aman left, they changed it to the spherical thing is what they did. They changed it to a sphere. And let's look at this. I know people like to make fun of people who speak about flat earth or round earth or whatever. I don't care what you think about it. I don't. I'm not going to make fun of you at all because I think it's all interesting. It all ties in together. Somehow it's part of the missing puzzle. Okay? So we'll see when I think I read they declared the earth was round in the 5th century. Look at this. The earliest documentation of the spherical earth concept dates around the 5th century BC when it was mentioned by the ancient Greek philosopher. In the 3rd century BC, Hellenistic astronomy established roughly round spherical shape of the earth as a physical fact and calculated the circumference. So, yeah. So who knows? Who knows? All I know is I saw something really interesting right there is what I know. Hello, everyone. The earth and land is always evolving. We are ancient aliens. What if we are ancient aliens? We could very well be. Well, we are old spirits. A lot of us are old souls, very old souls. And they say that our souls are recycled over and over and over. And then we got to learn till we get it right. That earth is a schoolroom. It's a place where you learn. I've heard earth is a schoolroom. It's a place where you learn. Yeah. Not all. Well, I am up front. It doesn't matter in the big scope of my life now. It doesn't. It doesn't. And it's flat. Let's see, flat because the universe is known to be flat. Yeah, there's so much going on. One day we will find out everything. We'll know all the answers because they'll just spill the beans. It's what they'll do. Yeah, old souls, new souls, empty vessels, clones. That's all. You got it all. Yeah. Um, yeah. So, Paul, sorry, our soul is here once and only once. That is a belief. That is a belief. You have a spirit inside your body. You have a spirit, you have a soul. Um, there's something that can divide spirit and soul. I think I remember. Um, yeah. The earth has 9 dimensions when you study the Palladian science. Yeah. Avatars, what if they are real? I did not like that cartoon movie. I didn't. It was like these blue avatars. This guy went to sleep in the dream state and he had this avatar. I don't know if I liked that movie. It was very strange to even get into. Um, I'm an avatar. If I'm an avatar, I don't know about it. Well, what if I do know about something? Yeah. I think there's a lot about each and every one of us that we don't understand. I really do. We don't understand at this present time in our life here on earth. There is a lot that we don't truly understand. But one day we'll know fully as we are fully known. Yeah, that's what I would say. We are going to, you're on the 9th, the avatar is real. Yeah. Well, with that being said, I am going to go. Let me just flip this around. I just wondering why, why was this here? Okay. And then why did it have to be removed? And then the spherical earth come. And then why was there 2 trees in Aman? Just like in the Garden of Eden, 2 trees in the Garden of Eden. Then the Garden of Eden was removed. Okay. A battle, something happened and Aman was removed. And so became all of this right here. Boom. With that being said, I am going to go, you all. Please give this video a thumbs up. And thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you so, so much for joining me. Yeah. Thank you so much. And I will see you all again later. It was just interesting. I'm just wondering if anybody who was knowledgeable in that trilogy, that J.R. Tolkien's thing, because I think there's truth in that too, just like there's truth in the movies. I think there is. There's a lot of truth to be had in a lot of things. Not everything is the sole truth. It isn't, but it's just bits and pieces that we have been given to try to put the pieces of the puzzle together. So let me switch this back around. So yes, there seems to be a middle earth inside the earth, and that right there thing got me right there. This is what got me right there. Is that one and the same, the Garden of Eden? I don't know, but thank you all so, so very much. Thank you. Yes, thank you all.